Hey guys, it's Lauren Yates from Rave It Up here, and we have some good news for you. The Jersey Boys musical is coming back to Sydney in September 2018, and today we're sitting down with the latest cast members. Hey guys, how you going today?
Hello.
Really good.
Welcome.
We didn't hear that.
Sharing one microphone is going to be a bit of a challenge, but it'll be very interesting to watch. Welcome to Rave It Up, guys, and welcome back to Rave It Up, Cam. Even though you're all the way at the other end, it's all good. Now, for those who might not know you guys, did you each want to introduce yourself and tell us something about you that maybe no one else knows?
Oh, sure. Giving away secrets.
Yes.
My name is Thomas McGuan. I'm playing Bob Gaudio in Jersey Boys coming up. And I guess what people might not know is that I'm about to finish off my final year of uni, studying music theatre at the Victorian College of the Arts.
Shout out.
Yeah, so that's my bit of secret. I'll move it on.
I'm Glaston Toft. I'm playing Nick Massey in Jersey Boys. I'm not sure what people don't know about me.
Everybody already knows everything.
Just renovated the kitchen.
I'm Bernard Angel. I'll be playing Frankie Valley. You know what? I did spend a year renovating my house. I'm a pretty good painter.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
I was slow, yeah.
It's a really big house.
Just say that. Very big house.
And hi, I'm Cam McDonald, playing Tommy DeVito. And I'll be looking for a painter before too long. But yeah, something you might not know about me is that I'm married to Michelle Smitheram, who just got cast as Janet in Rocky Horror the other day.
Congratulations, Michelle.
So it's a big weekend for the house.
Yeah, jeez. You guys are just going to dominate. You're going to be like big musical theatre
Power
couple.
couple, yeah. Yeah, we'll take that.
Awesome. Well, we learned something new about each of you now. So if we need a painter, it may take a year, but we got a painter.
Yeah.
Now, the new Jersey Boys musical is going to be at Sydney's Capitol Theatre in September next year. So we're very excited, and you guys are obviously as well. Have you guys always been a fan of Jersey Boys?
I have.
Now I am.
I have. I was lucky enough to be invited to, I think, the very first audience that Jersey Boys had in Melbourne the last time it was in town. Both Glaston and Bernard were in the show at that time. And I just remember sitting on the edge of my seat the entire time and just thinking what a amazing, slick show it was, brilliantly directed, and this back catalogue of tunes that, is unrivaled, really. And just thinking it'd be awesome if I got to be in that show one day. And I guess cut to sort of a year down the track, and I got to be in it, which was really cool. But yeah, I guess coming at it from being a fan in the first place and seeing it 4 or 5 times before I got cast was amazing. And I've always coveted the role of Tommy, and so now I get the chance to play it, which is really cool. How about you?
How about me? Yeah, I remember listening to the cast recording. I was still at uni, the Broadway cast recording, and thinking it was really good. It's strange because I was listening to the cast recording, but obviously I hadn't seen it. I didn't really know the story, and all these songs were kind of coming back to me, and then I saw a bootleg of the original cast. It was a great show. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Glasses?
Yeah, so I guess when I was first cast, they flew me and 3 of the other seasons over to Vegas, and we saw the show in Vegas. So I guess from that moment on, I kind of knew that I was on something pretty special, because I saw it and I realised it was a great show. So I guess from that point on, it was I kind of knew how great the show was, but it was also really interesting to come over here and kind of watch that success grow over here. When we came back here, and I tell people I was in this show called Jersey Boys, and people go, I don't know what that is, but and really? To kind of watch that perception change.
Yeah,
because we're talking back in 2000 and 2008, so to watch that perception change and people grow, and it was just it was really, really cool to be a part of. Yeah.
I was sort of. I learnt about the music through my dad used to have the original cast recording of Jersey Boys, and I remember we were camping one day and I was listening, and it was sort of one of those, I wasn't really listening, I could just hear it in the background, and then through the years hearing that music over and over, and goes, who are these people? Like, this music is everywhere. So
They're
then
dominating.
and then they're dominating, they're everywhere, and only realizing how I guess how esteemed the show became progressively as the years went on, and then flashing forward to having the opportunity to be in the show. I mean, like I've never truly been sort of immersed in the music as such, but now immersing myself in it, it's an amazing catalogue of songs that these brilliant people have made.
Definitely. Never ages, does it? It's great
Timeless,
music.
really.
So the Jersey Boys musical is the 12th longest running musical in Broadway history and has played to over 25 million people worldwide. And even the 2010 Sydney season was one of the longest running musicals in just Sydney history. So how does it feel to be in such a well-known musical and, a story that's just everyone knows?
I know, at least from my point of view, it's a massive responsibility to sort of present this show, not in its cookie cutter form as such. Like, I mean, because Broadway shows, it's always quite, they're so adamant that the show has to work the way it has worked ever since. But I think the exciting thing is being able to bring something of myself and ourselves into the show to make it something that we can connect to, as opposed to it just being something that looks pretty and aesthetic on the outside. And it is a pretty show, but I mean, it's a guttural story. Like, it's full of all of these dark and light themes in it. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Got everything.
Yeah, it's awesome to be involved. It's it's a killer show. Yeah, it's proven that with its success. Certainly with the 12th longest running show on Broadway, and success all over the world, and even here in Australia. It's you wouldn't think a show about four guys from New Jersey of all places would resonate here, but it does here, and it does everywhere because of I guess the themes in the show are really quite universal. Four guys struggling to get ahead in life, and friendship, betrayal, and of course the ability to be a part of something greater than themselves, and that's what their music was to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think these guys answered it. Yeah, it's what? It's also it's a really the creative team that they go around the world to put up the production. It's a really good rehearsals. Obviously they're hard, but it's really exciting to work as hard as they kind of want you to, and to really get to the level that they're happy with. I remember the first time round, once we'd all rehearsed and I think we'd opened, and the creatives were talking to us about the process, and they were saying we couldn't believe how hard you guys worked, and we were like, well, we thought we were behind, and we needed to catch up. And they were like, no, every time you learnt the music in 2 days instead of the 3 days, and then I'd walk into dressing rooms and find guys with guitars working on harmonies and stuff. I think that's one thing about Australian casts, they really work hard. So I'm looking forward to that.
Got anything to add, Cam, or just
yeah.
ditto times
well,
three?
a lot of ditto. Yeah, I agree with the boys.
Yeah.
But they said 25 million. I think people have seen it worldwide, and 1.6 million Australians and New Zealanders. Like, they're extraordinary numbers when you think of how small the population is. And yet, there's this extraordinary sense of anticipation, and there was a real sense of grief when the show left our shores. And so when it was all announced yesterday, you could sense that there were a lot of people who just couldn't wait to get back. Again. And so I think, that 1.6 million is likely full of a lot of repeat customers. We were speaking earlier about someone who we know saw the show, 80, 90 times. And is getting ready to book a stack more tickets. So there's a real sense of love for this piece in this country that I think as
build up a following, but like people really have strong when they see it. Sorry, people really have a strong reaction to it. They do get swept in by the characters, by the songs, and so they talk about it. You know, they tell friends about it. Not every show does that.
Yeah, I agree. Well, you better not screw up, because that person might be coming 80 more times and then be able to see everything. It's like, well, they didn't do that last time. Okay. And Glaston, Bernard, and Cam, you've all been in Jersey Boys before. So
Yes.
how's this time going to be different for you? You've obviously grown as artists in that time.
I'll go first. So last time I was Joe Pesci and understudy for Frankie. So obviously this time
Now you're the guy.
I'm Frankie. I'm really excited about. Frankie is this great part and this great sing, but also I'm looking forward to knowing that every night I am playing Frankie. I don't have to kind of be waiting during the day to see if I get that call.
Am I going to get it? Yeah. Do you
There's-
think you'll be bringing anything new to that character?
Well, I definitely think I was saying to someone else I was 22 when I first did it, and I think now, 10 years on, I am going to have a bit more life experience to put into Frankie. A lot of the things, choices that Frankie made, as the man, they kind of go over the top of a 22-year-old's head.
Yeah.
Whereas now there's a bit more experience
You'll
to draw on.
understand it.
Yeah.
I think when you're a young upstart or whatever, you can covet a role like Tommy DeVito and you can just be like, oh man, like it's so cool, and there's just, I don't know, like he's a bit of a rascal and a lot of charisma and stuff like that, and I covered the role as well in the last production, so but there's no doubt that you can covet it all you like, but there's just something that only the years can give you. So the time that we've had off between the last production and this one, I think I needed all that time to actually arrive at a place where I was castable in this role, because I think it's just the journey becoming a man, and
Life
if that makes
experience,
sense, like
yes.
yeah, well, as funny as it sounds, I do feel a little bit that way. And so I think it's quite lucky that the show stayed away for the amount of time that it did. It gave me time.
Stay away till I'm ready.
Type of vibe,
Yeah.
and it doesn't always work out that way, because shows come to town and you are like, if that came 2 years ago, or if that came 10 years from now, I'm bloody perfect for it and whatever. And got this rare opportunity to have been castable in what I did last time in Jersey Boys, but then just because of how long it's been away, I've grown into being able to be a Tommy, and oh man, it's so exciting because it's a great role.
I'm looking forward to seeing the show even more now.
Did what they said. Certainly, I think the passage of time certainly as an actor gives you more to draw on, especially with these guys, because we play them over the course of their lives, and especially certainly Frankie and Bob, start off as 16-year-olds and go through to current day. So I guess my experience is a little bit different in that my experience of Jersey Boys has only been Nick Massey.
Yeah.
Has only been my character.
You toured it for 4 years, didn't
Yeah,
you?
4
This
years,
has got to be
so,
like your favourite production now, right?
It is, that's why I'm still here. I love
Yeah.
it. So, having done that, 1,400 times, what's going to be different this time?
Who's counting?
I remember during the first season when my first child was born, and I took a week or two off and then came back. And there's a part in the show where my character talks about how he was always on the road and on tour. He didn't want his kids to feel like they didn't have a father, so he arranged it so his kids thought that he was their uncle, which is really messed up, And I remember when I came back and that line just came out. I was like, I have a different relationship to that line now, and I think that's even truer now that my kids are a bit older. Yeah.
You haven't made them think that you're their uncle, have you?
No, but I haven't. No. But I certainly have more compassion for this story and for Nick Massey than maybe I did when I was 25 when I first started. Yeah.
I think it says a lot about the show that, we were so excited to come back to it. Glaston, as he said, he's done it for 1,400 shows, 4 years, and Glaston is excited to get back into those
That's great.
Nick Massey shoes. I think it says
can't get
a lot
sick of
about
it.
the show. Yeah.
I finished my first audition, and and looked over at our resident director, Martin Croft, while I think a couple of the other creatives were sort of writing some stuff on a form and whatever, and I looked over at Marty and I just said, there's nothing like it, you know. Done a few shows since, and they've all been really valuable, but there's nothing like this piece, I think, especially for guys, you know. There's just something that we really connect with doing it, and there's something about this material and the direction and the songs and the mateship, all that kind of stuff, that just, it does really get a hold of you.
Yeah, you really become family, right?
That's it. That's it.
Now, I think it's time for some hard questions, guys. Yeah, what is your favourite Jersey Boys song? And your favourite to perform? They may be different. Yeah, there's so many good
Can I
ones,
pick
right?
two, or is that a bit rude?
Well, you can pick one favourite and one favourite to perform.
Yeah, so I've got... Beggin' is a song that appears in Act 2. I love the way the story uses that song. It takes the boys from a very... they're in a very dark place, basically. Tommy's racked up all this gambling debt, and they've asked for a favour from essentially a mob boss to sort this issue out. And Beggin' is just a dark, cool disco song that takes you into this mob boss's basement.
That's cool.
There's something that's just so cool. I remember seeing it the first time and thinking, what a song. I'd never heard it before. I also love My Eyes Adored You as a ballad. I think that's it's just a winner. I mean, it's been used in so much pop culture over the years. Most notably, I learnt it first on a Hungry Jack's Flame Grilled Whopper commercial. But it's a ripping tune, and again is used really beautifully to sort of, I guess, signal the end of Frankie's marriage in Act 1. So, you know, they're all great songs, but the way they are used as vehicles within the show is really cool too.
Yeah,
they're my two favourites.
Well, I guess because there are lots of hits in it.
That's why it's a hard question.
But I mean, what it was really surprising for me when I first saw it was there are a couple of lesser known songs that are equally as good, and oftentimes you don't, there's a song early in Act 1, Sunday Kind of Love, and it is such a good arrangement that Frankie and Nick Massey sings, and actually a girl sings. They haven't formed the Four Seasons yet, and they're in they break into church to use an organ and to use the to sing
into a church.
they break into a church. They're going on dates, so it's right before a date. They break into a church because Nick wants to use the organ, but also get the surround sound of a big massive space type thing.
A church of all places.
And I love singing that song, and Can't Take My Eyes Off of You in Act 2. I think not only is it a good song, but when you see it in context to the story about how hard it was to get that song released and how important it was for Frankie, because that was when they had, Tommy had left. They had this mountain of debt. Frankie was touring, trying to kind of make money to pay the debts back, and then they were working so hard to get this song released, and finally it does, and to do it in the show, and Frankie's just standing there on his own in front of the audience. It's pretty good,
And to see the crowd respond as well
to
that song.
I guess one of my early memories of Four Seasons music is from the Robert Downey Jr. film Heart and Souls, where they sing Walk Like a Man. So that song always has a real kind of special place in my heart. But I recently learned that...
Robert Downey Jr. fan.
A big Robert Downey Jr. fan. Well, who isn't, really? But I recently learned that Nick Massey's favourite song was Ragdoll, so that song has a kind of a special place in my mind recently too, I guess. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they're my two songs.
I can't say that I can't necessarily. I have to. I can't necessarily say that the ones that I enjoy performing, because I haven't necessarily performed them yet. But that said, listening to the album, definitely one of the first ones I go to is Who Loves You. the final number of the show. I don't know. There's something really exciting about the instrumentation in it and the dynamics, the harmonies, like how it starts in the cast recording, how it builds, even in the original actually, how it builds to this sort of disco feel, and then it breaks it down in the middle. It's so groovy, and I so love it. And then can't take my eyes off of you as well, with the dynamics in that as well, and the instrumentation, like that brassy sound mixed with like this sort of fragile, thin sound that like Frankie has, and then bursting out with like these massive, great, thick high notes is like compelling to a T, I think. So yeah, they're my two favourites.
Cool. So we're going to keep a lookout for those when we go see the show and be like, oh, that's their favourite.
Yeah, break into the church.
Yeah, we break into the church. It's like, okay, it's coming up. And for this season of Jersey Boys, 450 people worldwide auditioned, and you guys got it, so congratulations. What did you find the hardest part about the audition process? You know, it must have been a little daunting being up against all those people, and I guess even each other.
Yeah. Well, mine was trying to stop myself from sucking myself out. I mean, being in an audition room with people who I've seen on stage already, and Glaston's a tall dude, is that me as a fresh performer is thinking, of course I'm not going to get this. I'm fresh out of school. This is ridiculous. Why am I auditioning? Like all of this stuff to sort of put myself down and forget that, you know, I've trained to do this gig, and it's my passion, so why not drive for it? So that was one of the harder things of the audition, was just keeping myself on task and reminding myself, like, you want to do this, you've trained to do this, you're actually good at this, like, just do it.
Yeah.
Well, auditions are a really hard thing. I think most performers know that. They're kind of, you know, their own kind
Even
of
though
bag
you've already played it,
bag
it's
thing.
like...
But yeah, certainly for me...
I've already got this.
Yeah, I mean, certainly for me, with this, it was completely different, yeah. You know, I don't have anything to prove. I've done the show for a long time, and I just reminded myself of that when I went in there, and I said, you know...
They like you or they don't?
Yeah, they like me.
They
like me, and they don't, you know, and thankfully I'm here again.
Woo!
Yeah, you do have to kind of go against the negative self-talk that is going on. I remember leading up to the auditions, I was feeling pretty good, pretty prepared, and then about a week out was when I really started to get nervous, and then I started to get nervous about what if I get sick next week. And so I started getting really stressed about getting sick, you know, in a week's time. And each day I'd wake up and be like, I'm not sick today. Okay, that's
good.
I'm a little closer. I'm a little closer. But so you do have to kind of get over that negative self-talk. And as Thomas said, you know, it's like, this is what I do. I'm good at it. And, you know, I'm prepared, you know.
If you end up losing your voice, just have some 5 vocal tea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Product placement.
Thanks again, Cam.
No worries.
For those who don't know, that's Cam's company.
The5vocaltea.com. Yeah, look, further to that, I think there's, you know, you might hear later that there's 450 people auditioning, or thousands, I mean, but there's only one audition you have any control over, you know.
It's yours.
So...
That's deep.
Unless you trip someone over in the dance call. So I think that's slowly but surely becoming clear to me. It's amazing how you can be in the business for a long time and still be mucking up auditions and still be getting in your own way type of thing. But yeah, I think for this one at least, I was really in the zone as far as just do your thing. You know, of course other people are going to do theirs, but actually leave it up to the panel to decide if you should be in this show, rather than getting in your own way or worrying about what anyone else will do and talking yourself out of it before you give yourself a chance. Yeah, why not me type of thing.
Like often it's out of your power. I mean, if you're right for the show, you're right for the show, and those 450 odd, even however many there were, it doesn't really matter, because essentially they're looking for these 4 people in this case who have to be and feel a certain way, and I mean that you have no control over that. That's just life, really. Like, so nailing this audition is about you audition to go, okay, am I right for this show? I can actually be in this show. Now it's up to the panel. It's not up to you anymore. So yeah.
And their job is probably as harder
Yeah,
than yours,
absolutely. God,
because they have to choose.
I mean, 450 people down to 4 is a lot of people.
Yeah. Wow. And Cam, you're in currently beautiful, the Carole King musical, and Glasson, you're finishing up the Bodyguard musical. So how did you guys balance all this while also getting ready for the audition?
Yeah, I guess you've got to have half an eye on the future, don't you,
Yeah.
in this business? Not only is that vital when you're out of work, but it's vital when you're in work with things like mortgages to manage and all that kind of stuff. It's like if you don't have half an eye on the future. And like when I started out, it was a bit like, I remember my first gig was Miss Saigon, and I remember that towards the end of the run, there were all these actors sort of going, we'll be out of work in 2 weeks. And I was like, but we've been in work. Like, don't stress so much. And they were all like, no, you don't understand. Like, whatever. And I was like, oh, well, I don't really. This is just the best. I've got a gig. Then you go and like buy a house or something like that. And you're like, well, I better get the next gig. I better make sure that that's all happening.
The reality hit you.
For a lot of reasons. I mean, sometimes you start a show and they're like, oh yeah, we'll get 10 years out of this one, so put your feet up. And then you get your 2 weeks notice and you're like, oh, okay. I mean, that's super extreme, but, those type of things happen too. So Beautiful is a awesome show, and it's going to run and run, which is really cool. I think they've announced some more cities today, and it's been a real joy being a part of it. But I think it's also really nice knowing that I've got this on the horizon
as well
to look forward to.
No stressing yet.
Yeah, I don't have much to add.
Yeah,
how's the Bodyguard going?
Yeah, it's going awesome. We've got another week left. It's been a great gig. The Jersey Boys have been forced to accommodate all this kind of stuff on the Mondays on our days off, so we can fly around and focus on the next gig. You're always, as an actor, you're always chasing it. Yeah, it's
always traveling.
Yeah, I certainly feel like it's not a career; it's just a bunch of gigs you manage to get one after another. Yeah,
Just a great lifestyle.
Yeah.
And Thomas, this is a really big deal for you because, as you mentioned at the beginning of the interview, you're in your graduating year, and you've already got this huge gig to look forward to. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's incredible, and it's really scary at the same time. Like even like I was thinking last night, I was like, because all the cast, the four of us got announced yesterday. I was in my casual job, just serving people and doing my work, and all these people were giving me praise. I was like, this is great. But
I'm still normal.
I'm still I'm still a regular person. I'm always be a regular person, but this is an incredible opportunity, and I'm just gonna ride it and take control of it. It's gonna be great. I'm really excited.
People already treating you differently?
Yeah, a lot of people want to be my friend who I didn't think so.
Yeah.
These guys are no. It's just, what is that? Sounds like you. No, it's okay. You're right.
Just make sure you know already who your true friends are.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
Notice it, yeah. And these guys have been in the industry for a while, so they've been giving you some advice already?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, through the audition process, like thinking about all of these things and seeing all these people, it's like, you're in that show, you're in that show, you're in that show. I really like that show you're in, you're really good. Like, all of that stuff.
I don't know your name, but I remember the show you're in.
Yeah, sort of.
I know your
sometimes.
face.
I know your face. No, but... I've forgotten the question, but
have they given you some advice?
No, have they
Don't forget questions.
Don't forget questions. Be courteous. Be humble.
Yeah, there's your first bit of advice.
No, I think as much as I have learned already from these guys, is that like a lot of it I have to find out for myself. It's sort of you find your own journey, you choose your own path, and you meet the right people or you don't. You have your bad experiences, your good experiences, but you always learn from whatever it is. So,
you'll be working with them for a while now, so they may just give you some advice.
No, I'm excited.
And if we haven't given him any advice, it's because he appears not to need any. He's taken to it.
I'm always fishing though.
Well, these guys can probably agree. You know, it is a hard industry, and some people are working for years to try to get their big break. And
Yeah,
look at you.
and like I can say all I want. Oh, it's really tricky. It's really hard, but I don't know yet. So yeah.
But definitely, I think your talent shone through. So obviously they noticed it, and
Thank
look at
you.
you now. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We're really excited for the show. So good luck with it all. Definitely love to have you on again in the future. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much.
And for everyone watching, make sure to go check out Jersey Boys next year, Sydney's Capitol Theatre in September. For now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.